Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something absolutely critical, a time-sensitive medical emergency that, frankly, every single dog owner needs to have on their radar. Our goal today is to arm you with the exact knowledge you need to recognize, react to, and hopefully prevent a condition that can literally mean the difference between life and death for your best friend. So let's just jump right in. I want you to picture this. You've just finished up your normal evening routine, right? Your dog ate dinner, you went for a quick walk, everyone's settling down on the couch. But out of nowhere, within just a matter of hours, that totally normal, peaceful evening suddenly turns into a desperate, frantic fight for your dog's life. What exactly is this condition that can strike this fast and honestly, this ruthlessly?
Well, the answer is bloat. And in the veterinary world, it's widely considered the absolute mother of all canine emergencies. This is a terrifying, rapidly progressing condition, and it requires immediate, decisive action. You literally cannot just wait and see if they feel better in the morning. You can't try home remedies. The reality is, when bloat strikes, the clock starts ticking the very second it begins.
Now, to give you an idea of how prevalent this has become, there's a truly staggering statistic we need to talk about. According to a major study out of Tufts University, the incidence of canine bloat has skyrocketed by an unbelievable 1,500% over the last 30 years. And here's the kicker. That massive spike happens to coincide directly with the widespread rise of feeding dogs dry kibble diets. It's essentially a modern epidemic for our pets, which is exactly why we need to unpack the mechanics behind how it actually works.
So what's actually happening inside the dog? The official medical term for bloat is Gastric Dilatation-Volvulus, or GDV for short. Let's break down that incredibly intimidating term. Dilatation really just means the stomach expands. It blows up like a balloon, filling with gas, fluid, or food. Volvulus means that this super expanded stomach physically rotates and twists in on itself. And when that twist happens, it's a complete disaster. Both the entrance and the exit of the stomach are completely sealed off. Everything is just locked inside.
This sets off a terrifying biological chain reaction. First, the gas fills the stomach. Second, the stomach twists. Step 3 is where things turn deadly. That massive twisted stomach starts compressing major blood vessels in the abdomen, like the caudal vena cava. That completely cuts off the blood circulation to vital organs, including the heart and the spleen. Without that blood flow, the body rapidly goes into fatal systemic shock, which brings us to step 4.
Because this entire cascade happens so unbelievably fast, catching it early is literally everything. The absolute most crucial skill for you as a dog owner is being able to recognize the subtle early warning signs before that fatal multi-organ failure actually begins. You have to know exactly what to look for, especially since your dog obviously can't tell you it's wrong.
Okay, so here is your emergency warning sign checklist. You might see a hard, swollen, drum-like belly. You might notice them pacing around looking super anxious and restless. Or maybe there's some excessive drooling and rapid, shallow breathing. But I really want to stress this top point: non-productive retching. If your dog is dry heaving, like they're trying so hard to vomit, but only producing maybe a little white foam or absolutely nothing at all, that is a massive, blaring red siren. That means the twist in the stomach is already preventing anything from coming up.
The second you see those signs, this emergency action plan becomes your ultimate playbook. The do's are straightforward. Transport them immediately to a 24/7 surgical ER and do your absolute best to keep your dog calm. But please, pay close attention to the don'ts here. Do not wait until morning to see if they feel better. Do not, under any circumstances, try to induce vomiting. Don't massage their belly, and do not give them over-the-counter gas relief meds. Trying to manage this at home will absolutely cost your dog its life.
And here's a pro tip for when you actually rush through those ER doors. Say these exact words. Tell the front desk, "I am concerned about bloat." Don't just say your dog is acting weird or seems sick. Using the specific word bloat immediately changes the game. It bypasses the normal triage waiting room delays and triggers immediate abdominal x-rays, where the vets will look for this classic compartmentalized shape on the film. It's often called a double bubble or a Smurf hat. I cannot stress this enough, your next 30 minutes matter more than anything. Now take a breath, because here is the empowering news in all of this. If you know what to look for, act immediately and get them into emergency surgery to untwist that stomach quickly. The survival rate for bloat is actually fantastic. It exceeds 80%. Fast action truly works. Surgery can save them, but only if they make it to the operating table before that irreversible tissue death and shock set in.
So what does that surgery actually look like? The solution is a procedure called a gastropexy.
Whether a vet does this during an emergency GDV surgery to save a life, or electively ahead of time to prevent the issue altogether, the concept is the same. The surgeon permanently tacks the outside wall of the stomach directly to the abdominal wall. Once that's in place, even if the dog's stomach fills with gas and blows up like a balloon in the future, it is physically anchored down. It literally cannot twist.
Now you might be wondering, is my dog at risk? Well, while technically any dog, from a tiny teacup poodle to a massive English Mastiff, can experience bloat, the reality is that the playing field is definitely not level. Certain traits, genetics, and body types dramatically increase a dog's odds of facing this. So who is actually the most vulnerable?
Generally speaking, large, deep-chested breeds are highly susceptible. And Great Danes, well, they're essentially the poster dogs for GDV. They face a totally staggering 42.4% lifetime risk of experiencing a bloat episode. Let that sink in for a second. Almost 1 in 2 Great Danes will face this at some point in their lives. That's exactly why preventative gastroparesis are so highly recommended for them, along with other high-risk breeds like German Shepherds, Irish Setters, and Standard Poodles.
But here's the thing, it's rarely just one single factor that causes bloat. It's usually a perfect storm of compounding risks. Having a deep, narrow chest gives the stomach a lot of room to physically swing around inside the body. Gulping down food super fast pulls in massive amounts of excess air. That's called aerophagia. Being a bit thin means there's less stabilizing abdominal fat to hold things in place. A naturally fearful or stressed temperament can actually alter their gut motility. And then there's age. Over time, those gastric ligaments stretch out. In fact, a dog's risk for bloat increases by 20% every single year once they hit middle age.
Beyond body type and age, there are some very specific dietary dangers you need to be aware of. That tough study found some pretty shocking stuff. If you feed a dry kibble where fat is listed in the first 4 ingredients, your dog's bloat risk is going to shoot up by 170%. And it gets crazier. If you use a dry food that contains citric acid and you moisten it with water before feeding them, the risk literally skyrockets by 320%. On the flip side though, researchers found that adding in some canned wet food or even certain table scraps actually helped lower the overall risk.
Okay, we also really need to tackle a major misconception out there, the raised bowl myth. For decades, well-meaning owners were told that elevating a dog's food bowl helped reduce swallowed air and prevented bloat. But modern veterinary research tells a completely different story. Recent studies show that elevated feeders can actually increase the risk of bloat by a staggering 110% in susceptible breeds. It's wild how things we once thought were helpful turned out to be so harmful.
So, taking all that into account, how should you actually manage your dog's daily mealtime? You're going to want to aim for this specific biological rhythm: move, feed, rest. First, get them out and exercise to burn off that energy. Second, feed them, ideally a smaller meal. And third, and this is absolutely critical, enforce rest time for 1 to 2 hours after they eat. Exercising a dog with a full belly is basically like turning on a washing machine mid-cycle. It violently sloshes that heavy stomach around and basically invites that deadly twist to happen.
To pull this all together, here are the actionable prevention strategies you can start using today. Try breaking their daily food up into smaller, more frequent meals. If you have a fast eater, slow them down using one of those calibrated slow feeder bowls. The ones with suction bases so they can't flip them over are great for this. Keep your dog calm and restrict strenuous exercise around mealtimes. Feed them from bowls placed directly on the ground. And finally, if you have a deep-chested, high-risk breed, please have a serious conversation with your vet about a prophylactic gastropexy.
We have covered a lot of really heavy ground in this explainer today, but it really all boils down to one final question for you to think about. Are you prepared for the 30 minutes that could save your dog's life? Tonight, maybe go grab your dog's food bag and check the label. Is fat listed in those first 4 ingredients? By staying proactive, getting informed, and just keeping a vigilant eye out, you totally have the power to defeat the mother of all canine emergencies. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and please keep your best friend safe out there.